Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about fantasy, sci fi, and whatever other nerdiness we want to talk about. Today, you're here with another Just Jim episode, so you just get me, Jim, the father of this father and son duo, as I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about my thoughts on Marvel Comics and some of the best of all time. And I gotta tell you, it's a pleasure to be with you in this episode today because I just got done recording one of our Book Blast episodes. And man, those are tense. I had 5 minutes to pack it in, and you gotta watch the clock, and you talk so fast. I get to relax a little now and come to you, not that I'm gonna waste your time, but don't have to rush quite so much to bring today's goodness to you. That also means I have time for a beverage. Book blast? There's no stinking drinks going on. Who has time to take a sip? But on this, I've got something to enjoy. What am I drinking today? It's just some nice white wine time. This is a table wine, nothing fancy. Winemaker's White from Mary Hill Vineyards in Washington, out in the Columbia Valley Gorge. And hmm, it's just tasty. I've had it down here before. I'm a member of the club, so I got plenty of their wines sitting around the house. All right. As we prepare to move into talking about Marvel Comics here, I do want to again remind you of the usual things. If you like this video, show the love by hitting the like button. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we certainly hope you will. We've got a lot of goodness out here, and we keep bringing more and more content to you. So subscribe and don't miss anything that we send in the future. And we do invite you to connect with us. We love to talk more with anybody who's interested about fantasy, sci-fi, and all this other silly stuff that we enjoy spending our time on. So in the show notes, you can find out how to join us on our Discord server or on various social media avenues. Those are all there. And you can even go next level, become a Patreon supporter, and get some extra benefits, including the chance to be part of these episodes live. And to get some extra episodes we create as thank yous just for our patrons. All right, let's talk Marvel. And wow, it's a little daunting trying to boil down the massive inventory of Marvel comics into an all-time best list. Keep in mind, we're talking about a company that dates back to 1961. That's when the Marvel brand first was official. But it has its roots in comics that go farther back, all the way to the 30s, actually. The parent companies and some of the characters that were created there show up later in Marvel Comics. But for the purpose of this episode, I am focusing only on what we've been able to see and enjoy from 1961 onward. Now, using the term comic series, as I think of the best comic series that are out there, let me define what I mean by that. I'm more or less referring to the general character properties, not simply an individual published run. Series come, series go. I'm talking about, and series sometimes come again also. you know, there's a lot of things that come and go and come and go and change and tweak in comics. That's just how they work. But the characters themselves, they tend to be through points, even though they may transform in personality and style and focus. I'm talking about, for my focus, those particular characters or groups upon which comics are written. And which ones? Okay, I thought for this, I wanted the smartest, most impactful, and most awesome elements that are brought to Marvel Comics over the years. These are the ones that I think the brand has been built upon and that impact everything else that's out there. Through all the reinventions, through all the retconning that has taken place, these are the characters that are the creme de la creme upon which Marvel is king. As always, this is my opinion. I know I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, or I wouldn't say it, but you have a right to think I'm wrong. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you agree with what I'm saying, lean into it. If you think I missed something, let me hear about that too. If you think I'm totally wrong on one of these, are you crazy? Let it fly. We love to hear from our listeners and subscribers. Okay, now I'm not going to try to rank these. Let's be clear about that. Depending on the period of time and your preferences, some of these have ebbed and flowed as to how awesome they are, actually. But on the whole, I believe the ones I'm going to put forward here now are the greatest of the series Marvel has come up with. Again, no particular order, with one exception: the X-Men. I mean, come on. Nothing Marvel has put forward has been so impactful or had such a sweeping effect on the rest of the Marvel Comics universe as these mighty mutants. I appreciate the diverse characters, the social issues they've been able to address through the storylines over the years, the amazing story arcs, some truly massive, epic stories they've told, and the shockingly great way the X-Men have altered the entire Marvel landscape over the years. Heck, some of these characters have even become household names through pop culture, whether you've ever picked up a comic book or not, including, of course, my favorite X-Men, Wolverine. Who hasn't heard of friggin' Wolverine? Mind you, Hugh Jackman has done Wolverine a solid, but still, that only drove more people to pick up the comic books. Part of what brings the X-Men to preeminence of all the ones that I'm going to share is how broad its impact has been through spin-off series. I could easily spend an entire long episode just discussing this topic alone. The X brand has been monumental in its impact, giving us, for example, X-Force, X-Factor, Exterminators, Cable, the New Mutants, Excalibur, Generation X, the New X-Men, X-Men, Extreme X-Men, and there are more. There are more. It's been huge. It's been massive. It is number one. Disagree? Come at me. All right. The rest, I do not have in an order. These are just the other massive ones at the top of the castle of Marvel. So the next one I bring before you is the Fantastic Four. Four very different individuals who were formed into a team through the accident of cosmic radiation, which turned out to do far more than anyone could have predicted. And while Reed Richards may be fantastic, and Johnny Storm may be hot stuff, and Susan Richards may at times be practically invisible, it's Ben Grimm, our marvelous thing, who steals the show in my book. The Fantastic Four is one of the original properties of Marvel and has given us a heck of a lot to work with over the years, from the amazing prodigy child Franklin to their arch nemesis Victor Von Doom, to all the guest stars who have filled in on the team, because you need four. It's the Fantastic Four. Sometimes someone's on vacation, on a honeymoon, off planet, or in the neutral zone, and somebody's got to fill in. They've had a bunch of extra people who became part of the Fantastic Four for a while. Particularly my favorite, the delightful Jennifer Walters, also known as She-Hulk. Continuing my all-time best to add to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, I have a considerable love for the Incredible Hulk. This character has spawned so many storylines, brought in so many additional characters through the fun of gamma radiation, and has taken us all over the place in how we feel about dear old Hulky. From the original innocent but not so bright Green Goliath to the gray Mr. Fix-It, that was a fun character, to a world hero in the Planet Hulk storyline, to bringing in the Red Hulk, and so much more. The Hulk is a tragically heroic character who has taken turns making the world a better place and being one of its greatest terrors. Again and again, and it's a heck of a story. I started reading The Hulk all the way with the first episode. Now, I wasn't born, I was going back. But I've read as much of it as I could get my hands on. I am a Hulk aficionado. Love me some Hulk. All right, there's no way to talk about the all-time best Marvel comics without bringing up Spider-Man. Ever since his first appearance in 1962, the amazing web crawler has been entertaining us with his wit, his power, and with great power comes great responsibility, and his humility. There is no humbler superhero in the Marvel Universe, or in any other comic universe, in my opinion, than Peter Parker as Spider-Man. And over the years, readers have not been able to get enough of this character. There have generally, from nearly all the way at the beginning, been at least 2 different series running at the same time with stories of Spider-Man. And sometimes there have been more than 2. Heck, The Amazing Spider-Man, the flagship of it all, ran to 700 issues before temporarily being derailed in 2013 by a substitute series, The Superior Spider-Man. Now, that's a plot twist that you need to be a reader to understand. I'm not going to give it away. And then came back with a brand new relaunched The Amazing Spider-Man #1 in 2014. You want more evidence of Spider-Man's impact? Just look at all the other media. From TV, movies, so many movies, so much Spider-Man. Yeah, that's big. Spider-Man's up there, way at the top. Who else? What else? I've got to give a shout out here to Iron Man, another of the early creations of Marvel, dating back to 1963, and a character that has been enduring and central to the Marvel Comics world, impacting so many storylines. But of course, Iron Man is integrally tied to another of the ultimate all-time best series in Marvel, the Avengers. Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, brings heroes together and founds the Avengers already in that first year of Iron Man's existence. And ever since we've had Iron Man, we've had the Avengers, usually interacting, not always directly, but Iron Man and the Avengers in some way have always had tie-ins. Again, Iron Man as a superhero has not always been an active member of the Avengers, but there's always been some connections still. And these are just hand in hand. Best of all. You got Iron Man and you got the Avengers. They're both up there. Top products of the Marvel Comics universe. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of where I was going to stop with the best of all time. And then I was like, wait a second. There's one more. There's definitely one more I got to put in here. Now you're thinking, okay, which one? Come on, Jim. There's others I really love. Might not be the one you're thinking of. This is a quirky pick, but I've long had a love for this entertaining character. He's had an impact on many of the other characters. He's done cameos in a lot of other series. And in recent years, he got a serious bump in popularity due to some extremely successful movies. Yep, I'm talking about Deadpool. Love him or hate him, you can't stop following him. Unless you can't stand him, which is a fair reaction many people may have. It's not for everybody, but it works for me. I mean, I can't help but find Deadpool a complicated character, just as much a hero as a villain sometimes. I mean, his moral compass, his code of ethics is so screwy and may fluctuate from episode to episode or from series to series. But somehow most of us still love him and just want more. Now, Deadpool is the newest of the ones that I elevate to this status. He only dates back to the 90s. All these others, we're talking the 60s and ever since. Deadpool comes onto the scene in the early 90s, and he brings with him much of what Marvel had figured out about what works in comics. What are the things people want? But they also were able to give him an edgier, quirkier, deadlier kind of perspective here that the other mainstream series weren't doing, and in many cases still aren't. So Deadpool's kind of unique and brings some flavor to Marvel that I really like. And I think the fans do too. I'm looking forward to the next Deadpool movie. It's going to be a hit as well. So for me, those are the tops, the ones most worth mentioning in an all time best list. But there are so many others that have been great as well, and that people could make an argument for ought to have been here at the top. It's a subjective list. I'll certainly admit that. But for me, these were the biggest. Regardless, it's worth a moment more to give a shout out to a small group that are almost at the top. They just aren't the very best for me, but they're close. I would never call these second tier. They're way too awesome for that. They're just not the best. So close. So I'm just going to list them for you. I'm not going to go into details on these. Here's my, I don't want to call them also rans. I don't want to call them second place. They're just shy of the best. Captain America, Thor, Howard the Duck. Yeah, kidding. Scratch Howard the Duck. What were they thinking? Okay. Black Panther, Doctor Strange. There you go. Those are the ones, all for very different reasons, that I'll put them up there. Now, obviously, you can see two of them have spent a lot of time with the Avengers. Black Panther has played around in there too. Doctor Strange, I don't think he's ever been an Avenger, but he's definitely had parallel experiences. They're all top core characters in the Marvel Universe, and they're worthy. Just not the best. Close. All right. I love plenty of other characters and storylines, but we're focusing on the best of the best. So that's where I'm going to draw the line. I'd love hearing what you think, what you agree with, and where you think I totally messed up. Who did I leave out that you can't believe they're not my best of the best? So I want to hear from you. Let me run my outro just to remind you of the ways that you can let us know. It's all going to go up here on the screen. Again, the reminders. You can hop on our Discord and talk about the episode there. Twitter, Mastodon are good places. We do have Facebook. Not much interaction happens there, but put it there. I'll see it probably eventually. We have an Instagram where I mostly just post things about booze. What if you make a comment? We'll see it there too. We also have an email. It's going on the screen right now. Some people use that. Another way that you can interact with us. All right. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you next time.